Welcome to Writers Anonymous YouTube channel. Writers Anonymous presents Even Stranger Stories. Episode 3. The House on Old London Road.
Tonight, on Paranormal Pursuers, we're investigating the abandoned Witchall house on the Old London Road. Steve declared to his handheld camcorder. In fact, the only remaining house on this disused thoroughfare. He finished. He panned the camera around the area, scanning past his car, catching Tracy in the grainy green night vision image. Why the Witchall's family home still remains standing is a mystery, when the few others, built at the same time in the late 1700s, have collapsed. Steve tried to focus on the house, but it was too far into the night's darkness. He turned to Tracy. "Trace, can you turn the car's lights off and lock it up?" "Sure," she said. Now it was really dark. The moon should have been out, but it was covered by fast-flowing impervious clouds. The branches of the trees lining each side of the road clacked against each other in the strong wind. "We're approaching the front door," Steve said to the camera. "Stop," he held a hand up. "Did you hear that?" Tracy shook her head. They stood silent and motionless. Nothing but the wind made a sound. They continued into the house. Tracy followed close behind Steve. "Local myth has it that no one has ever returned alive," Steve said as they walked. "Is that true?" Tracy asked. "Yes, but they've returned." "Yes, how?" "Usually in a body bag." "Are you kidding me?" "Nope. But it's only myth. I've never seen anything in the press." The front door slammed behind them. They both jumped. "Went," Steve said confidently. They carried on towards the dark staircase. As Steve took a step nearer the bottom rung, he felt something tug at his trouser leg, just above his shoe. He looked down to see what had caught him. Nothing was visible. As he looked up, he heard a whooshing sound. There was something coming at him, down the staircase, fast. Before Steve had time to realize what it was, the huge, pointed blade of the scythe had entered his stomach and sliced him from bowel to forehead. Tracy only managed half a scream before the blade's point entered her throat and silenced her as well.
From the horrors inside human constructions, to fear within Mother Nature's, it just goes to show, nowhere is safe. Underneath.
300 meters below the earth. Max sighed. She was used to the discomfort, although even for her, the letterbox opening was tight. The smell of limestone, normally a relaxing scent, was beginning to become acrid. The headlamp only succeeded in illuminating the roof of the opening, mere centimeters above her head. Max shimmered a little further until she could feel the channel begin to open up. At least it was peaceful down here, even if she had gone farther in than planned. It was the perfect excuse to ignore any creepy texts from Danny. She didn't remember the passage being so tight on the way in, though the suggestion of light up ahead signaled she would be above ground again soon. She sighed again at the thought. A sound among the echoes, set apart from the usual trickle and splosh of her hobby, made her pause. "Did you hear that?" Max knew the dangers of solo caving, and somehow talking to herself nullified the notion that she was, in fact, alone. It sounded like the crackle of a flame, edging herself out into an open chamber equaling a cathedral in scale. Stalagmites reached out to countless vast stalactites far overhead. Max stood and stared. A knot of fear squirmed in her belly. This was not the way out. How could she have gotten so much further in? The treacherous source of light that called her inward was a burning orb, sinister and ablaze, dancing in odd excited circles at the center of the space. The infernal thing floated around 4 feet from the floor, casting lurid flashes of orange, red and yellow at the cathedral's ceiling some distance above. Max frowned at it, the knot in her belly ever tighter. The orb edged closer, forcing Max away from the opening just to keep some distance from it. Encouraged by this, the orb advanced again. The cathedral was larger than it first appeared, with many cracks and passages. Any of them could lead to the surface, or none of them. Max's headlamp began to dim. Fumbling around for the spare batteries returned nothing. She had forgotten them. She would have to just pick a passageway. When the headlamp gave out, it almost took her nerve with it. The eerie orb, propelled by some ill intent, was now all that let the ways out of her tomb. Max decided to see if she could lead it back towards an opening. She sidestepped and it followed. At first, sensing the sudden shift and with wicked finality, the orb extinguished itself with a hiss. Max sobbed in the dark, interred and alone. Almost.
Underground, or on a journey, the choices we make ripples in everyone's lives. Accident.
It was all down to my reaction time and what I could see or not. As I sat in my stationary car with its engine still idling, I put my glasses on and got out. My mouth was like sandpaper, but I kept my cool. I walked around to the front of the car and felt my heart sink as I saw the young lad of no more than 5 years old lying motionless in the road, a trickle of blood running out of his ear. The woman screaming, I assumed the mother, caught over him shouting, "Wake up, my darling, wake up. Mommy's here." I took control. Taking the mobile from my pocket, I called for an ambulance and before kneeling down next to the woman, she looked at me briefly before turning her attention back to her boy. A crowd had started to gather, quietly looking on either in shock or gouged interest. "How is he?" I said. Was such a tremor in my voice? She said nothing, but it was clear to me he was dead. I could hear sirens and within moments a paramedic appeared and moved us out of the way, leaning over the boy. "Who is the driver of the vehicle?" A policeman came through the crowd and I unhesitatingly stepped forward. "Keep calm," I said to myself. He took my statement. I said the boy just ran out into the road and I didn't see him until the last second. I had no chance to stop in time. Well, that was a white lie, but who would know that? He was gentle with his questioning and was done after a few minutes. Watching him walk away, I breathed again. He didn't ask me about my eyesight. He didn't ask me whether I needed to wear glasses all the time. He didn't ask me whether I had them on today while I was driving, or whether I'd left them on the dashboard. You see, as I had them on when I got out of the car, I could see properly, so I had the perfect excuse.